Good day, Warhammers, to another episode of 60 Goblins in One Brush. This is the first part of an episode of 10 minutes videos about the whole lore, summary of the whole lore of Age of Sigmar and beyond. From the beginning of time, the creation of the world, until the end times, and then the Age of Myth, the Age of Chaos, and the Age of Sigmar at last. The first episode will be from the beginning of accountable time, from the beginning of time, how the Slann, the first creations of the Old Ones, counted the years, until Anarion and his son Malekith. 17,500 years before the end times, and 15,000 years before the birth of Sigmar, the Old Ones arrived through the warp gates and messed with the creation. They were magical, genetical engineers, and the first race they created were the Slann, who they created in their image, or at least the Slann think so. The second race were the Saurus warriors, to implement their indomitable will. For 5,000 years they experimented and terraformed the planet to their liking. Then in the second 5,000 years to come, they created the first humanoid species, the elves, the dwarves, and finally the humans as well. Around that time the orcs appeared as well, but it is not known from where. They were not created by the Old Ones. They were probably aliens from another world. Then 10,000 years after their arrival, the warp gates through which the Old Ones had come initially collapsed or started to deteriorate, and chaos entered the world. The Ogres were created by the Old Ones to stop the chaos, and some other old races. Dragon Ogres, Femir, and of course, dragons, and others. Then the Old Ones suddenly disappeared, left the Slann in charge, as guardians of the world, and to complete the mysterious great plan of the Old Ones. In the year 4500 before Sigmar, or in the year 10,500 after the arrival of the Old Ones, Anarion becomes the first Phoenix High King of the Elves, and the civilization of the Elves as we now know it comes into being. But the war with chaos is raging already, and the Elves are in the thick of it. He battles them mercilessly, and they abduct and kill his wife and sons. In a fit of revenge, he draws the sword of Cain and transforms into the mightiest of elves. 40 years after he becomes Phoenix King, he marries his second wife, Morathi, who is a witch and a specialist in herbs and healing, the most beautiful and most seductive of all elf women. She too bears him a son, Malekith, and he has an heir once again. This, by the way, makes Morathi the oldest of all beings in Warhammer, apart from the Slann and godlike beasts like Dracothian. By the end times, Morathi is already more than 7,000 years old. 80 years after Anarion becomes Phoenix King, his friend Calador Dragon Tamer creates the vortex to close the warp gates because the war against chaos seems hopeless. Anarion is first against it because the vortex could destroy the whole world. But seeing the endless hordes flooding the planet, he helps his friend Calador and assists him in completing the magical spells of the vortex. Anarion dies, slaying the 4 mightiest demons of the invading army. His last wish is that his son, Malekith, becomes the new king. While Anarion's first wife did die, his first 2 children did not, 1 boy and 1 girl, and they started off the line, the blood of Anarion, for the future, spawning Teclis and Tyrion in the end. But Anarion wasn't told, and Morathi wasn't told for sure. Everyone was afraid that Anarion's first children would be assassinated by Morathi or by the Chaos. So Malekith would have been the next rightful king. He was already around 30 years when the new king was chosen, but he wasn't. Belshazzar was made the new Phoenix King of the Elves. Malekith was at first quite accepting, and he joined exploring parties. He explored the jungles of Lustria, helped founding colonies in the east and the west, in the so-called New World, and the so-called Old World. And he befriended the dwarves, and became ambassador, and the king of the dwarves became his best friend. But his friend died, and some of the dwarves were corrupted by chaos. This was the birth of the Chaos Dwarves, who later created the Black Orcs and the Hobgoblins, who would be their demise. Malekith gets more and more reckless and explores parts of the world that no one has entered before. He even enters the deadly Chaos Wastes and finds the Circlet of Iron, a magical crown giving him immense power and also the sight of what magic really is. And like Calador before him, he realizes that all magic, in the end, ultimately comes from the realm of chaos. His mother, Morethi, meanwhile, starts pleasure cults in Ulthuan, which are in reality Slanesh cults. Malekith comes home, hears of it, and immediately wants to arrest and imprison his mother, but she beguiles him and persuades him that it is not her that is the danger to Ulthuan, but Belshazzar, the Phoenix King, who unrightly sits on Malekith's throne. Together they plan to kill the Phoenix King and to Malekith finally step into his role that was foreseen for him by his father Anarion. Already the Circlet of Iron starts to change him. We have to remember that for the first 1,500 years of Malekith's life, he was a good guy. Only after he found the Circlet of Iron, after his mother corrupted him, he started to turn evil. Already at that time he was a mighty warrior and able wizard. He poisons Belshazzar and steps into the flames of Assyrian just like his father did before, expecting to become a half-god. But he's burnt to a crisp and throws himself out of the flames in the last moment. Black, steaming, smoking, crying, half dead. His mother drags him home and heals him. His skin is gone, so they make an armor for him that he will wear for the rest of his life. But once again, once he's healed, another has already taken up the crown of the Phoenix King of the Elves. This is the moment where Malekith finally turns evil. And this is the end of this part of the lore video. The moment Malekith transforms into the Witch King. Thanks for watching. See you in the next episode from Malekith to Sigmar.